Well, good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie here, and it's really great to see you again today. Happy Monday. Um, it's been a pleasure this month talking to everyone about being happy and the role happiness plays in our life journey. Uh, Today, let's sort of focus on building a plan, if we will, of how to try to live our lives as happily as we possibly can. Yes, stuff happens. We all know that. We all have things that we have to work through that are not always the most pleasant things, and some are tragic and very unfortunate. But it's still maintaining a happy heart uh, will help us cope with whatever seems to be prevailing in that particular period in time. We've discussed the biology of happiness, the psychology of happiness, and even the social dimensions of happiness together this whole month. And I hope you've done some of the activities that I've suggested to you in order to build a profile to ensure that your heart is as happy as it possibly can be as you go through life. One of the things that I do know is that we tend to actually accomplish, enjoy, and do things that make us happy and that we feel happy doing. And for that reason alone, being happy with the life you're living uh, is something to strive to be. If you're happy within yourself and with the life you're living, you're going to have so much joy and accomplish so much more, I think. So today, let's sort of consolidate what we've talked about into some practical, actionable strategies, how we can best equip ourselves with tools and techniques to cultivate and sustain happiness in our daily life. The first one that comes to mind to me is what people refer to as mindfulness and meditation techniques. And these are sort of fancy, highfalutin words that people throw around a lot of the time. But what it is to me is focusing your attention on the present moment and accepting it for what it is, trying to do so without any judgment. Just be present in the moment as it is. When you can accept what it is, then you can examine it a little bit more objectively and maybe come up with some coping techniques that will be helpful to you. Mindfulness helps reduce stress and anxiety, and it really does lead to a more peaceful state of mind when we are fully aware of what is going on in our lives in this particular moments. Uh, and to be present is something that all of us, I think, need a little practice on doing. The same thing uh, that you would do to pause and collect your thoughts works when you're trying to be mindful. Things like focusing on your breathing, being aware of your senses, being aware of your surroundings. These are all parts of mindfulness. And being able to meditate, to think about these things, increases self-awareness, and it can help you get rid of some of the negative emotions that you might be experiencing and just enhances our overall sense of well-being. And I think if we could incorporate being a little mindful uh, and thinking about our current situation into our daily routine, we could cultivate a more calm, positive mindset set that is really conducive to feeling happy. Um, and to me, that's a good thing. Uh, I can hear Martha Stewart so many times in things that was her trademark. That's a good thing. Well, life is a good thing. Living it fully is a good thing. Being happy in yourself is a good thing. Another thing I think we can do uh, is build some resilience and better ways to cope with stress that inevitably will enter our lives at some point in time. Resilience to me is the ability to bounce back when bad things happen. And to me, it's the key to maintaining happiness through all the challenges that life presents. Developing resilience involves cultivating a positive attitude, focusing on solutions rather than problems, and learning from the setbacks when they happen. Um, it's okay to focus on problems, but does it change anything? If you focus on how you can fix this, how you can make it better, how you can get through it, uh, it's, to be resilient in that way, to bounce back from what has just hit you in the head that you didn't see coming, uh, is very, very helpful. And then learning from it, why did this happen? What could I have done differently to have prevented it, made it not as intense, gotten through it more quickly? Again, that's all part of being resilient in your everyday life. Uh, and that lends to make you more happy when you feel more in control and able to cope. Uh, Effective stress management, I think, is another tool that is crucial to resilience. Techniques such again as deep breathing, physical exercise, and good time management can help us cope with stress more effectively. I don't know about you, but if things are beginning to pile up and I'm behind schedule, whatever the schedule is, often the schedule is totally arbitrary and we overlay it uh, unrealistically on ourselves. Uh, but these techniques really can reduce your stress level. And they're things that just take some practice uh, and a willingness on our parts to engage in whatever these behaviors are to lower the stress level and to be able to think more clearly and be present in the moment rather than being overwhelmed by the moment. Uh, Viewing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning can also transform the approach we have to whatever is happening and foster a more resilient mindset. I know one time uh, things were pretty stressful in our household, and looked at my boys and I said, I don't really want any more opportunities for growth and learning right now. I just want everything to calm down because we had all been challenged about to the max. And that does happen. Uh, but if you can look at these as growth opportunities and learning opportunities, then that changes the way we try to deal with the adversity, whatever it might be. Um, I think it also helps to be able to look at creating long-term habits for sustaining our happiness so that it isn't just one moment in time, but we actually are pretty much always happy campers. Uh, and that comes from inside you. It comes from your heart, that type of happiness. Uh, it comes from development of positive habits and routines that lead to our feelings of well-being and balance and joy. It involves setting realistic goals. It's really important that a goal is realistic. If it isn't, just setting it may be overwhelming. If you're looking at taking on any type of new challenge. It could be a new exercise routine or getting started exercising. You need to be realistic about what your body is capable of doing so that you don't overwhelm your body with demands that it can't meet at this time. Sometimes we need to start slower than we'd really like to when we're setting goals and move through it in stages, maintaining a balanced lifestyle. And it's also important during that time that we nurture all of our relationships and keep them sound and solid and supportive as we go. Again, we're talking about long-term happiness here. Setting and working toward achievable, realistic goals will give us not only a sense of purpose, but also a sense of accomplishment. And both of those contribute to a long-term feeling of happiness. Uh, if you set unrealistic goals or a purpose that you don't believe in or feel you can accomplish, uh, y- that's a downer because then you feel you can't even measure up to your own expectations of yourself. Ensuring a healthy balance between work, leisure, and self-care, because self-care is very important, is essential for our well-being, our feelings of happiness. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, a balanced diet are fundamental aspects of good self-care. And it's sometimes in the course of things that we get so rigid and so inflexible uh, that we throw ourselves totally out of balance in many areas of our life. And that does certainly not leave to being uh, happy within ourselves and with what we're trying to accomplish. Uh, when I look at building a personal happiness plan, I look at three primary areas, and we've touched on them very briefly just in the last couple of minutes: mindfulness and meditation. Outline how you will make these part of your daily life. You need to have a plan in place so that you take time to be mindful and to think about what is going on, short term, long term, interpersonally, in your physical surroundings within yourself. Uh, that you include resilience strategies, that you can identify techniques that will help you manage stress when it comes into your life. And we all have stress enter our lives in different ways, in different times, and in different degrees, and ways to build the ability to cope with this and to bounce back when it happens so it isn't devastating and stops your progress. And then the last area again is to look at the long-term approach. Uh, I want to live my best life every single day. I want to do it with joy and with happiness, and hopefully uh, brings other people along with me on the ride, and so all of us can have a wonderful time. To be a little more specific for mindfulness and meditation practices, I think all of us could do with a morning and evening routine where we begin and end each day with just 10 minutes of thinking about the day, of being mindful, focusing on deep breathing, the present moment, how we're feeling at the beginning or at the end of the day, how we feel about what transpired during the day. Just as a matter of course, it's a personal check-in with yourself. Another thing that I think is really important is to schedule throughout the day just mindful breaks. A time where you just stop whatever you're doing and take a break, maybe just a couple of times, 5 minutes, go outside, breathe some fresh air, refocus, recenter, readjust, uh, and then begin again to prioritize and move forward. When it comes to resilience, I think every single one of us uh, could use some really good stress management techniques that we can call upon when needed, whenever something like that happens. One of the very best ones is some type of physical exercise. It could be whatever you're capable of doing that you enjoy doing. Uh, and there's got to be some physical activity that you enjoy besides your thumbs on your telephone for texting or playing games on social media. There's got to be some type of physical activity that you could identify that you would enjoy doing. Uh, and try to do that maybe eventually up to 30 minutes a day, uh, at least 4 times a week. So that gives you a much needed mental health break, where your body is in charge and helping you cope. Uh, Relaxation rituals are also really important as stress management techniques. Whatever one that you would choose to do that works best for you is the right one to do. Maybe for you, it's a bubble bath. Maybe for you, it's deep breathing exercises. Maybe for you, it's listening to favorite music or reading poetry or uh, novels, or how do-it-yourself books, self-help books, uh, whatever. Just take that period of time, and it doesn't have to be a long period of time. It could be as short as 10 minutes, just to sort of relax and decompress. One of the things I really enjoy doing, and I have to be really careful when I do this because I when it comes to relaxation rituals, if I go through that relaxation ritual where you start out with your toes and you say, relax your toes, relax your feet, your arches, etc. And I travel very often I will fall asleep and wake myself up snoring in the middle of this relaxation ritual. So for me, it definitely is a way to cope with stress and to take time to relax and decompress myself. I think also another thing that's really good to build into your day is ways to be more resilient. How are your problem solving skills? Do you set aside time weekly to reflect on the challenges that you're currently facing and brainstorm practical solutions or ways to improve the situation or whatever the issue may be? Sometimes uh, we forget that we really need to focus on ways to handle what is going on rather than being reactive. We need to learn to be more responsive to the situation. And that again deals with our ability to control and manage it, which gives us a much more peaceful state of mind and makes us more happy in the short term and in the long term. If we feel we can handle most things that come our way, that's great self-confidence, and that helps you keep a happy state of mind when you think you can handle most things that life throws at you. Uh, the other thing that is so important is social support. Uh, establishing some type of a meetup and conversation, no matter how, whether it's in person, whether it's virtually, whether it's by phone, whether whatever, with a close friend or family, for that all important emotional support and connection that as human beings is so important to us. Uh, this lean on me, I'll get by with a little help from my friend. All these songs are true, and that was one of the reasons they were such hits. They resonated truth, and people knew that when they were connected with each other and getting good social support, they were able to go through almost anything with that close connection. So again, being connected to others, not living in isolation, is sometimes really essential for handling what life throws your way. And then I think we have to look long term at habits that can help us stay happy uh, for the long run, not just in the moment, but also for the long run. And one of the things that I think is important in this area, as far as being happy, is goal setting. Uh, we can set short-term goals that are achievable, maybe day to day, week to week, month to month. Things like maybe reading a new book, learning a new skill, or completing a small project that you hadn't gotten around to. Those are examples of short-term goals. And then their long-term goals. Uh, Things that you could outline that you want to accomplish maybe within the next 3 months or the next year. There's no, specific magical time limit, but just looking further ahead than just day to day. Uh, Maybe it's a fitness target. Maybe it's a personal growth objective. Maybe it's an environmental change that you're wanting to make that you know is going to take some time and needs some planning and needs to be outlined in a more step-by-step approach so that you can check it off as you progress on this journey long term. And each time you check that off, your happiness goes up because you can identify within yourself that progress is being made. Uh, and then I think another thing that's very important when it comes to happiness is having a balanced lifestyle that reflects all of you, just not one part of you. Is your work-life balance okay? Are you allotting specific time for work and also specific time for your personal life so that you have a healthy balance? All work and no play makes Barbara a dull girl. You can get burnout with your work if you are not aware and don't try to make sure that you stay balanced in those two areas of your life. I know caregivers, and you don't often think of caregiving as work, but if you've ever put yourself in in the role of caregiver for someone, it is a lot of dedicated work. Uh, and it's something that you have to balance out with some release. Because it can be both physically and emotionally exhausting sometimes when you're in the role of a caregiver and emotionally exhausting as well. Uh, Implementing a no work rule during certain times of the day or personal relaxation periods is something helpful when you're trying to maintain balance, where you set aside a certain period of time where uh, you focus on other things. I know in my family, we have a very simple no work rule, and it's really not work per se. It's more like no interference. Uh, and that's when we come together as family. Cell phones are turned off uh, during the meals or whatever, uh, just for that period of time. And they're not brought to the table. They are not a part of our time together, where we talk and catch up with each other during the day. And that helps us stay connected to each other and balanced. Another thing I think that helps keep your life in balance is if you have any hobbies or other interests and you dedicate a regular time uh, each day if you can, or at different times throughout the week, engaged in the hobbies or the activities that bring you joy and relaxation, whatever it may be. It could be painting, it could be gardening, it could be playing a musical instrument, anything that brings you joy, that brings you relaxation is a subject for this and helps keep your life balance correct. Also think we need to take time to reflect on whatever the plan is, and it needs to be fluid and it needs to be looked at and adjusted regularly to make sure that it aligns with our ever changing needs and circumstances because we don't live in a vacuum and things constantly are evolving and change happens when you aren't looking. And you think, well, I didn't see that coming, but here we are. Now, what do we do? So, these tools and strategies and practices to cultivate and maintain happiness are not hard. There's something all of us, if we keep in mind, uh, living our lives with joy and happiness can be ours. It does not mean we're not going to have bad things happen. It just means that we will be able to benefit from the joy that is present even in terrible times and to move through the difficult challenges that we often face if we can maintain balance in our life and maintain our core happiness, being alive and connected and living each day fully. Um, Cultivating mindfulness and resilience to create a sustainable happiness habit uh, will guide all of us along our journey or a journey of what I hope for you and me is going to be a very happy life. So keep smiling, keep remembering that I'm here for you whenever you need somebody, and I appreciate you being here for me when I need someone to talk with. Have a happy day, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.